Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Now, I wanted to come in and talk about this thing I saw with the Atlanta Hawks. They're doing this crazy thing called Magic City Monday, and apparently, somebody thought this was a good idea. I think they're going to get a lot of backlash for this. And one of the reasons why I think that they should sort of reconsider celebrating stripper culture is because somebody could accuse them of promoting sex trafficking, an environment that leads to sex trafficking. So you might say, well, what are you talking about, boys? You out your mind, man. This ain't sex trafficking. This is celebrating something that we do all the time in Atlanta, and it's just a thing, and it's not a big deal. Okay, well let's talk about that for a minute, and I'm gonna break that down for you. As you come in, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up my name, Boyce Watkins, on Spotify, you'll find my podcast, which is called the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify. All right. So anyway, so if you want to know what's going on, and I'll tell you where I heard this. Madam President was on Instagram, and she was talking about this Magic City Monday, and apparently they're doing it. This is a real thing, and I guess it's like Magic City appreciation, which I understand that to a point. Right? Magic City is a big deal. It's considered to be an iconic institution in the Atlanta area, and Lord knows I don't want to be out here trying to disrespect those who appreciate what Magic City might have to offer. But one of the interesting things about this whole situation is I kind of couldn't help but wonder why stripper culture jumps to the front of the line when it comes to the things that you can celebrate about Atlanta. I just don't get it. Atlanta's a great city. They have amazing people. They're doing amazing things. You got medical doctors. You could have had medical doctor appreciation night. You got black women that are having amazing children. You could have black mother appreciation night. You could have you could maybe promote the idea that we build the best black businesses in Atlanta. But for whatever reason, we went straight for the stripper thong, and I just thought that was strange. Now, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break down. If you'll give me a few minutes. I'm gonna just make a point. That's all I'm here to do. I'm not here to talk you out of nothing. If you want to go put your money in stripper thongs, then God bless you. I ain't got nothing against it. As long as you are okay with it and the stripper's okay with it, then I'm gonna just say, do your thing, man. No disrespect. But let me give you some stats that'll help you kind of understand why some people might find this a little bit strange, and also why I thought it was really peculiar that it was actually a white boy. It was a white athlete who actually said this was degrading toward women. And so, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you all this: like, how many of you, even if you disagree, how many of you can understand why this might be a little concerning or degrading toward women? Can we at least start there? Like, at least hearing the other point of view. Give me a yes if you understand. A yes in the comments if you understand why this might be a little degrading toward women. Why there might be some women out here that have an issue with this. Why there might be some people that have an issue with this. Maybe fathers of daughters who don't want their daughters on stripper poles might have an issue with this. Why those of us who are pro-black, who don't want black women and the image of black women to be presented as strippers, might have an issue with this. Give me a yes if you can at least empathize with that point of view, so we can at least understand all perspectives on this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my audio, and I'm going to play a video of Madam President. She lives in Atlanta, and let's hear what she has to say. I think that this is worth considering. So let me play this. Let me know. Give me a yes if you can hear this audio. I'm going to play this video right now. She's going to talk about what's going on with this Magic City thing. So here it goes.
Only in Atlanta can you have a Magic City Monday. So the owner of the Atlanta Hawks' daughter will never dance at Magic City. But see, your daughters may. The Atlanta Hawks just announced that Magic City Monday, which is on March 16th, they co-branded merch. T.I. will be performing, and they're going to have lemon pepper wings, a full celebration of Atlanta's most famous strip club. And the internet is calling it for the culture. But see, I can't help but to think, you know how I do, the Hawks can do a Magic City night, but they can also put the same energy into having a black architect night, a black engineer night, a black educator night, a black reparations night, a black women in engineering night. If you know black culture so well, do a time served night celebrating black people who were wrongfully incarcerated and finally made it home. A black family night where you compete to bring the most black families through the door. They had options. They chose the strip club. See, majority owner of the Atlanta Hawks is also an executive producer on the.
Okay, so let me know if you guys can hear that. I know some of you, I saw someone who said they couldn't hear it, so I want to make sure that it's coming through okay. Did you get her point? That's the first part of it. I'm gonna play the rest of it in a second. But let me know if you got her point here. Her point was that there are a lot of things you can celebrate with Black culture. Do you guys agree with that? Do you understand where she might be coming from? She's kind of saying like, hey, do we got to start with the stripper pole? And is there something else that we can do outside of just celebrating the stripper culture? And why is it that we are leaning in that direction when it comes to the things that are uniquely Atlanta that we're going to celebrate? So before I move back to what Madam President has to say, I want to give you some stats and some information to let you know why a girl dad like me would be a little bit concerned about. Y'all know I'm a girl dad. In fact, let's start here. Give me a yes or no. How many of you not want your daughter? Give me a yes if you would not want your daughter on a stripper pole. Everybody, give me a yes. And give me a no if you're okay with that. Give me a no if you would see your daughter dancing naked in front of a bunch of horny men, and that would make you feel good about life. So those are the no's. The yeses are hell no. Yes, yes, I agree. I do not want my daughter on a stripper pole. Let's start there. Let's start with aspiration in the Black community. What do you aspire to? What is it that you want? Tell what do y'all think? Give me what do you yes or no? Right. Okay. So all the yeses are people who do not want their daughters on the stripper, who do not think it's okay. All the nos are the people who are like, no, no, it's cool. I'm good with that. My baby, I want her twerking and stretching her vagina out and getting on people's laps. Strangers, the laps of strangers, by the way, not the lap of her husband, the laps of strangers, because that's just going to lead to a wonderful life. Right? Uh, okay, so it looks like the yeses are winning. I don't see a lot of no's, and I don't see any no's. All right, good. Okay, so that's interesting, right? So process this for a minute, right? Do we love Black children or not? Do we care about our kids or not? Um, because I want you to I want you to consider, I want you to consider this. Um, you know, if you go and you sort of ask yourself this basic fundamental question as we celebrate Magic City Night. I'm not saying that the women who dance are bad people. I'm not here to further dehumanize them or disrespect. But I want you to ask yourself this question. Do you even think that being a stripper leads to a good life for Black girls? Like, I mean, really, none of y'all, not one of you. I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at what everybody said. Not one of y'all said, yeah, I want my daughter on the pole. Why not? Well, let me just give you some stats that'll show you. There's a journal of trauma practice, which, by the way, we created the first ever Black financial trauma department in the Black Business School. The Journal of Trauma Practice said that 70 to 80% of the women in the commercial sex industry report experiencing physical assault. 70 to 80% of the women are getting physically assaulted. And you up here celebrating? What the hell are you appreciating? Women getting their wig slapped off, getting kicked in the face, getting sexually assaulted. Is that what you're celebrating? Again, I'm just reading the stats. Don't get mad at me. I know people like the lemon pepper wings, but you can get wings in a lot of places. Two, uh, extremely high rates of PTSD. How many of y'all knew this? That a multi-country study showed that women in the sex industry, dancing on stripper poles, all that they have the 68% of them meet the clinical criteria for PTSD at a rate similar or higher than combat veterans. How many of y'all knew that? Anybody else know that? Or am I being the asshole in the room who says maybe we can celebrate something else? Maybe don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go shut down Magic City. I'm not here trying to do that. I'm not that guy. But I am the guy who says maybe you just let Magic City exist. But you don't go and try to shut down the business, but you don't say, hey, we're gonna celebrate this because remember when you celebrate something and you show appreciation to something, you're saying we want more of that. I want my MTV. I want my Magic City. I want my stripper poles. I want Black girls shaking vagina and twirling and dancing on the laps of strangers. That's what we want, right? So there's a difference between accepting something versus celebrating and promoting it as if this is aspirational for young Black girls. Can somebody hear me? Am I being heard, or am I just some asshole on the internet running his mouth? I hate. I don't want to. I want to be cool. I want people to like me sometimes, but I know it's never going to work because some of this stuff is just degeneracy. It's crazy, man. Seriously, it's crazy. So anyway, I think that this is um this is going to be considered to be the crazy thing that the Atlanta Hawks are doing. I think it's I think it doesn't make any sense. Um, and I think it might be racist. I think it might be racist. I don't know. Because I'm gonna ask y'all this. Give me a yes or no. Has anybody seen them do like a stripper appreciation night for the Utah Jazz? Because they got a whole lot of white people there. I'm sure they got strip clubs. I'm sure they have strip clubs, maybe somewhere. They, at the very least, we got some perverted Mormons. We know that's a fact. They probably worse than most people. So has anybody ever heard anything about the Utah Jazz having stripper appreciation night at a Jazz game with little white girls out there shaking it fast? Watch yourself, shake your ass, show me what you're working with. Are they saying that this is what they want? I mean, the Atlanta Hawks children, the owners of the team, are their kids out here shaking up and down a stripper pole? I'm curious. I'd like to know this. And if it's not happening with white people and it's not happening with the owners of the Hawks, what makes you think that it's good for you and your girls? I personally think black girls have the ability and should be treated as princesses. They should be protected. They should be given opportunities. They should be elevated and celebrated. I celebrate the black girl, but I don't celebrate the stripper culture because I don't know a single person who says I want to be a stripper, and even though I could have been a medical doctor, I want to be a stripper even though I had a million opportunities. How many of you, seriously, tell me if you get what I'm saying. Has anybody ever seen somebody say, you know what, I had a good dad. My family provided for me. My family invested for me. I had a bright future. I was going to go to medical school, but instead I decided I want to go slide down a stripper pole and dance on the laps of strange men and have them feel it on my body, whatever the hell happens in the club. Has anybody ever seen that? That does not happen. So ultimately, I think that they should reconsider. I really do. I think that they should reconsider this. And let me play Madam President's video. And since we kind of like for our kids to grow up and actually be economically intelligent, so they don't end up on a stripper pole, the Black Business School, we have financial flashcards for kids. We teach our kids cryptocurrency. We can't teach them how to swing down a stripper pole, but we can teach them how to become investors and wealth builders. So here's a link to our cryptocurrency flashcards for kids. We put these together because I am a finance professor, and again, I can't teach you how to dance, but I can teach you I can teach you how to twerk your stock, make your stock portfolio twerk for you. So feel free to click that link if you'd like to take a look, and it's something our team put together. And it's a training program for kids on that want to learn cryptocurrency and parents that want to teach them. All right, so let me go back to Madam President, and I got tabs open, man. I got too many tabs open, but I'm gonna finish her video because I love Madam President. She lives in Atlanta. She has her finger on the pulse of the people. Everybody should follow her, by the way, on Instagram. If you want to follow an intelligent black woman, follow Madam President. So let me finish the video here. All right. So in fact, let me just start it over again. Let's go back here, and I'm gonna play it again. Here it goes.
Only in Atlanta can you have a Magic City Monday. So the owner of the Atlanta Hawks' daughter will never dance at Magic City. But see, your daughters may. The Atlanta Hawks just announced that Magic City Monday, which is on March 16th, they co-branded merch. T.I. will be performing, and they're going to have lemon pepper wings, a full celebration of Atlanta's most famous strip club. And the internet is calling it for the culture. But see, I can't help but to think, you know how I do, the Hawks can do a Magic City night, but they can also put the same energy into having a black architect night, a black engineer night, a black educator night, a black reparations night, a black women in engineering night. If you know black culture so well, do a time served night celebrating black people who were wrongfully incarcerated and finally made it home. A black family night where you compete to bring the most black families through the door. They had options. They chose the strip club. See, majority owner of the Atlanta Hawks is also an executive producer on the Magic City documentary on Stars. So maybe this is just a theme night or marketing activation for her personal project. But I do know men and women who work for the Hawks on the executive level, their daughters don't need to dance at Magic City to pay bills. They have access to the corporate side of the arena, the ownership side, the investment side, and that's the culture that keeps winning. When you're in the ecosystem of the NBA, where there are billions moving through owners, arenas, sponsors, Brands, you do not want the lemon pepper wings. You want the right wing of the building. Nobody grows up wanting to work at Magic City unless you have limited access to resources and you need a quick way to make cash. And that's what the Hawks are possibly doing, using the culture for cash. But hey, you know me. Maybe I'm just being too deep. I'm Madam President with a Z. I'm 100% politically incorrect. I'm here to finish what Harriet started, move or die. And I know that not everybody travels through the world thinking deeply. So have at it.
All right, all right. So, Madam President with a Z, and she's 100% politically incorrect, a very smart young lady, and she lives in Atlanta. And so here's the deal. Look, so as the Hawks sort of have this weird thing that they're doing, this whole Magic City Appreciation Night. One of the things I want you to understand, and I know this as a person who has been I've closely analyzed hip hop for a very long time. I remember when the music changed. As Dr. George C. Frazier said, he said, Black people changed when our music changed. When our music got to where we were calling Black people bitches and hoes and everything else, that's when you saw a degradation of the culture. That's when you saw us scraping the bottom of the barrel looking for ourselves, as opposed to trying to aim for things that were more aspirational, more successful, things that led to success and not just financial success. See, this ain't just about money. I'm talking about things that lead to safety for children, mental health, physical health. I just explained to you that people that are in this industry that they have PTSD rates that are as high as combat veterans. How many of you want your daughter growing up having PTSD? They have a high probability of engaging in some sort of physical assault, beating up women, getting beat up by men or beaten up by other women. How many of you want your daughter getting her ass kicked every other week? Right. Also, check this out. This is interesting. Studies also show that the strip club dancers have over half of them use drugs or alcohol to cope with working conditions, including harassment, long hours, and pressure from customers. How many of you want your daughter using drugs or alcohol to cope with her job? It's hard enough working for white folks, but it's even worse working for terrible black folks. Right? So just because your boss is black don't mean your workspace is going to be an oasis. So why would you celebrate? Why would the Hawks celebrate a working environment that feeds directly into the very culture of sex trafficking that leads to the Diddy situations, the R. Kelly situations, all that? You don't understand the connection. In fact, actually, I got to connect the dots for people because people don't get it. Sometimes they think I'm just being a hater. But let me be a double hater. Just call me, I'm going to be Boyce the Hater today. I'm not going to be Boyce the Great. I'm going to be Boyce the Hate. So that's going to be my name, Boyce the Hate. Check this out. So, an estimated 4.8 million people worldwide are victims of forced sexual exploitation. Studies have found that victims are often coerced into environments such as strip clubs, brothels, or escort venues. So, a lot of strip clubs actually become places where you recruit sex trafficking victims or you actually force the sex trafficking victim to work. How many of y'all knew that? And Atlanta happens to be one of the biggest cities on earth for sex trafficking. Is that a coincidence? Is that just a coincidence? Is that you think there could be a connection between the fact that you celebrate stripper culture and you have high sex trafficking? Am I just being a jerk when I say this? Am I being again? I'm Boyce the Hate today. I'm not Boyce the Great. I'm Boyce the Hate because I'm about to be a hater right now. Because I will be a hater on your ass when it comes to our girls. Because you got to stop doing this. You got to stop celebrating the Cardi B culture, the Megan the Stallion culture. I know that it makes money. I'm an expert on money. My PhD is in money. But one of the biggest things I know about money is that money can also be the devil when it comes to ruining your life. That chasing money at all costs can be a problem. That if you think about how much money somebody makes without thinking about how they make the money, then you are going to ruin a lot of these poor kids. These little girls are going to a Hawks game. And somebody done told them they're trying, you should be an engineer, doctor, lawyer, wife, whatever, therapist. But they're seeing somebody out there doing something that looks really lit, really cool. It's like, wow, she's so beautiful. Really, the strippers and everything. I mean, beautiful women, very athletic. I mean, my God. I ain't go, okay. Just so I'm not just a complete hater, let me tell y'all, I got a confession. Y'all ready to hear is it okay if I make a confession real quick? 'Cause don't tell nobody. I did go to a strip club one time. I think it might have been Magic City. I did. Now I got an excuse, so let me tell you why I was there. Don't tell my wife though, because she don't like this episode. I can't get away with that. But I went there once, and the reason I went was because somebody I knew was getting married, and he was getting married in Atlanta. And apparently, there is a legal statute that says that if you are a man and you get married in Atlanta, you got to have strippers at your bachelor party. That's what I do. And I was the best man. So I had to. The job of the best man is you got to follow the groom around, make sure he's good, right? That's what. And so I find out that they're going to have the strippers, and I'm like, oh Lord Jesus. So I just said, okay, all right, let's look at it like a research study. So I'm checking out, and I'd never seen this before. It was very interesting. Strippers are really athletic. I looked at one girl's calves and I said, you have athletic legs. Did you play sports in high school? And she said she did gymnastics. So shout out to the strip. I mean, they just, and then I was in there, they were swinging from the poles 30 feet in the air. Like it was wild. Like it was like watching a mix between the Olympics and a circus at the same time. Like kind of, and guys throwing money around, and they had cigars and just these false signs of false masculinity where you got a cigar and a drink and you throwing money, and that's kind of a thing, right? Whatever, right? So it was interesting to watch, but it was really strange because I was like, wow. And of course every stripper is like trying to do it so she can pay her way through medical school or something. They always have fascinating stories about why they're there. And I'm not saying that there has never been a stripper that went to medical school. I'm not saying that at all. But still though, it was really interesting. But so here's the thing. In that experience, I gained a little bit of an understanding of why the stripper culture could be seen as an art form. 100%. I kind of get it. The black woman's most beautiful woman on the planet, for 100%. We're the most athletic people on the planet, for sure. Um, you can appreciate where it's kind of become a culture. And I'm not here to disrupt that culture too much as long as it's safe, as long as it's healthy, which actually is a big if because all the studies show that it's not a safe, healthy culture. All the studies show if you watch a movie like Players Club, you didn't see anybody remember Ice Cube's movie Players Club? I met Lisa Ray, very nice lady. Remember the Ice Cube movie Players Club? How many of y'all remember that movie? Give me a yes if you remember the movie Players Club. In the movie Players Club, you did not get a sense that 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 industry was a good, safe, healthy place to be. You just didn't. It wasn't like it looked like you were going to Disneyland or that you were, like working at the Johns Hopkins in the medical center. Like you didn't know. It was like, no, it's grimy, it's crazy. You got to carry your gun. You got to be ready. You got to have somebody to protect you. And so to some extent, you can understand why the as beautiful as the culture can be, and Magic City has done a wonderful job of making it as beautiful as it could be. Nobody, not one of you, when I asked y'all earlier, when I said, how many of you would want your daughter on the damn stripper pole? Not one of y'all said yes. I looked for one yes. I did not see a single. Why is that? Why is that? And the Atlanta Hawks need to understand this. It's okay if you say, look, I'm not going to mess with it. It is what it is. That's Atlanta. Atlanta's an interesting place. But no, we're not gonna go and further promote this. Just because the devil's doing his work over there, don't mean you got to go and become an agent for the devil. Just because it's popular, don't mean it's right. Just because it makes money, don't make it good. Just because everybody doing it, don't mean you got to go along with the crowd. So the Atlanta Hawks should be damn ashamed. If you wouldn't want your daughter on that stripper pole, then you shouldn't be celebrating stripper culture because you know as well as I do. Tell me if y'all agree with this, that most young ladies who become strippers, and I know they have men too, but you see mostly the women, right? Most young ladies who become strippers did not do it as their number one option. Tell me if we can at least agree on that. That being a stripper is not something that you do when you have a lot of options. Being a stripper is not what you do when you are financially secure. Being a stripper is not what you do when you are emotionally balanced and happy and doing well. Tell me if you agree with that. Like, no, it's what you do. You say, well, I got, I was a baby mama and I had a child I had to feed and we were behind on the rent and I realized that I was attractive and whatever. So I just did what I had to do. That's usually the story that you hear. So it's not an industry that people aspire to. It's something that people do because they have to do it typically. Again, I'm sure there's somebody out there who did it, even though they had other options, right? Because I heard they even wanted to make pole dancing an Olympic sport. I can hear all that. I respect all of that. But Lord Jesus, man, why is it that when it comes to black people, we got to always be swinging in the damn mud? We got to be lurking at the lowest common denominator. Well, Negroes are special and Negroes they want their daughters to be on stripper poles. No, you don't. Ain't no daddy that ever loved his daughter ever said, I can't wait to see my daughter throwing her vagina in the face of every man that's got $20 in his pocket. Not one father ever has ever said that. And I don't know a mother who says that either. So stop it. Magic City Appreciation Night. Man, why don't you call it like sex trafficking appreciation night? Seriously, why don't you call it like nigger culture appreciation night? I don't know what the degradation of black women and how we celebrate The degradation of like seriously. I mean, come on, man, get out of here. Anyway, let me keep going. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm a finance professor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also tonight, I'm gonna do. We're reading Marcus Garvey's book because we're the uppity Negroes who actually want Black people to do better. And we're reading every Wednesday night. We do what we call Powernomics training, and that's where I want you to have strong economics. So ain't nobody gonna go slide down a stripper pole. It's 100% free. We do this Wednesday night. So they have Magic City night with the Hawks. We have Powernomics night over here. That's what makes us different. So if you want to join, text the word greatness on your phone to the number 87948. I will send you an invitation. Text greatness to 87948 because I believe our kids can be great. I believe our people can be great. Also, if you want to make extra money without having to do stuff like that, stock options are a great way to do it. I have a PhD in finance. I teach thousands of people this kind of thing. So you feel free to go to drboyceprime.com, bring your whole family, and we believe black wealth should be a family affair. So that's what we do, and we're the best on earth at doing it. So we get it done. Shout out to everybody here and all the faculty at the Black Business School. All right, so here's a couple more things you should know about the stripper culture and some issues. This is proven through statistics. Research on U.S. strip clubs has found that when they surveyed the dancers, that most of the dancers experienced verbal harassment, and all have been propositioned for prostitution. All of them. And think about this: you go on a regular job, ain't nobody gonna come up to you and say, "Hey, girl, why don't you become a hooker? Why don't you let me traffic you?" But apparently, 100% of the women they surveyed who are in the stripper culture were asked, were not just invited to become prostitutes. They said 75% reported stalking by men connected to the club environment. So they said that most of the women go to work. Imagine, ladies, if you went to a job, imagine if you worked at FedEx and you worked in the corporate offices of FedEx, and every week there was a guy sitting there like, looking at you like this, right? Like all creepy and following you into the office. And every week he was asking you, he was trying to find out where you live. He was trying to sleep with you, and he was trying to traffic you. Would that be an issue? What do you think? Yes or no? Would that be something maybe you'd report that to HR? Would you leave? I don't know. Again, not judging, but it's just these are facts. These are stats I'm reading here. Also, studies show that women in the sex industry have PTSD rates comparable to military combat veterans. We mentioned that. Also, a recent investigation into strip club trafficking identified many victims across multiple states with commercial acts arranged through the club's operations. So actually, there are strip clubs out there. Not to put Magic City in this, though. I'm not saying Magic City did this, but there are many strip clubs where they actually create the sex trafficking culture. So remember, Diddy wasn't solo. He was part of a culture. R. Kelly wasn't solo. He was part of a culture that enabled that behavior. I'm not saying everybody in hip hop is a Diddy or everybody in hip hop is an R. Kelly, but if you go back and you look at 50 Cent, who made the documentary about Diddy as a sex trafficker, 50 Cent has a very prolonged history of degrading women, harming women, and attacking women. Right? He allegedly burned down the house of his baby mama with his child in it. He was on trial for punching some women in the face at a concert, and he had a song where he's celebrating sex trafficking called PIMP. And sometimes what happens is if you're not careful as a black person, they'll have you singing and dancing to something that is as degrading as the day is long. They'll have you literally rapping along to the anthem for your own extermination, which I think is just incredibly problematic. So if you keep going with Atlanta, Atlanta high sex trafficking rates in Atlanta. In fact, the FBI identified Atlanta as one of 14 U.S. cities with the highest levels of child sex trafficking. And a lot of advocacy groups say that there's been trafficking. That's been a trafficking hub for over 20 years. Researchers estimate that around 100 adolescent girls are sexually exploited every night in Georgia. Every night, 100 girls, many of them in Atlanta and around Atlanta. In Georgia, about 12,400 men purchase sex from young women every month. And so sex trafficking is big in Atlanta, which I don't think that's different from the stripper culture, right? Not to say every stripper is a sex trafficker or every strip club is promoting it, but it's about creating the environment. It's a place where pimps can go to find women who need extra money because you already have the ingredients for trafficking. A lot of trafficking starts with financial desperation, right? The strip club tends to be a hub and a draw for individuals who are dealing with financial desperation. And so, one of the things I would say to any parent out here, anybody who ever loved their daughter for even 30 seconds, I would encourage you to to make sure that your daughter understands money, understands how to invest and how to get money without using her body. Her body is an asset for sure for some people. Like it could be. If she wants to use it like an ATM, there are women out there that are trained to do that. You have music and a culture that promotes this idea, but unfortunately the cost is very high, right? Every form of capital tends to have something associated with a cost of capital. That's what we call it in finance. So the problem with using your body as a capital base is something you use to make money. So the thing you use to get what you need. So the problem with using your body as your capital base is that your cost of capital can be very, very high. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? It can be very, very high. It's not just like if I go and I use capital or get a bank loan to start a business, I got to pay an interest rate. Well, the problem with being a stripper selling my body or using my body as a way to get what I want is that my cost of capital can be my soul, right? The cost of capital can be my peace of mind. The cost of capital can be my safety, right? That when you have strippers that have PTSD rates that exceed combat veterans, that really speaks to the fact that most people in this industry are not there because they want to be. And most people in this industry are not happy human beings. So get your daughter prepared for the world. Teach her how to manage money. That every child should be trained on economics, especially the girls. And the boys too, because the boys, there's not a lot of opportunities for black men out here. Number two, invest for that damn child. Invest for that child. Why is it that you raise the kid is in your house for 157,680 hours, and not, and literally, it would have taken 2 of those hours for you to teach them the basics of the stock market, the basics of real estate, the basics of how to own a business. But for whatever reason, we know everything there is to know about twerking. The kids can recite every Cardi B lyric by the time they're in kindergarten, but for when they get 18, they have no clue how to make money other than shaking ass for a bunch of strangers and having people put money in the stripper thong. That is a failing of our community. That is a failure of the parent. That is a failure of us. We could put all this on the white man, but I'm sorry, I don't think the white man is necessarily doing all that. Again, the white man plays his role. He's always involved in all the shenanigans for sure, but a lot of that is also on us. Can we at least agree that we're going to take some responsibility for our kids? Moving on. A couple other things that you may want to think about. The Atlanta Hawks, I hope that they will consider this when they process whether or not they want to hold Magic City Appreciation Night, is that number one, it does undermine the cultural message of wealth building, right? So a lot of successful communities, when they want their daughters to build wealth, they give them education. They teach them discipline. They teach them long-term financial planning. But when you celebrate the hypersexualized entertainment as a pathway to financial security, that can be a problem, right? You're building your economy in the wrong way. Next, when you talk about black people and black girls and things like that, you got to understand that black women everywhere, as beautiful as y'all are, black women are facing a lot of ugly stereotypes that come directly out of that culture, that music and everything else that's promoting the black woman as a sexual object. So when you're doing this, that's you're kind of adding to that, right? So nobody wants to do that, right? That's not appropriate behavior. So ultimately, if you're preparing the next generation to be successful and be happy, why would you even, out of all the different things you could be showing black girls at a basketball game, why are we showing stripper culture? Again, I'm not here to tell anybody that you can't go to Magic City. I'm not here to shame anybody who has gone. I'm not here to shame anybody who works there. I'm not here to shame the organization itself. But there's some cultures that are there. You let them be there, but you don't grab that culture and say, let's put this on the beacon as the spotlight, as the North Star for everybody to aspire to. Remember, Bill Cosby, when he did the Cosby Show back in the day, in the different world and all that, they were taking HBCU culture and putting it on the stage and shining the light on it. And as a result, because people are influenced by media, every study shows this, black people are the most influenced by media. You saw the HBCU enrollment numbers skyrocket, right? And that's because marketing matters. So with the Atlanta Falcons or Atlanta Hawks, I would just implore them like market something else, man. Market the little girls who are inventing things at school and doing things that black girls were never allowed to do. Let them figure out how to go shake ass on their own. How about that? If they want to be a stripper, we ain't gonna shame the girl for making that choice. But I would guarantee you this: if we raised black girls properly and protected them properly and gave them economic opportunities properly and trained them on economics properly, the Magic Cities wouldn't have any employees. How many of y'all agree with that? I don't think they'd have. I think they'd have a really hard time finding people to even slide up and down the strip because that's hard work, by the way. That's really hard. I was like, whoa, oh my god, right? Like really, like seriously. Tell me you agree with this. That if we protected black girls and really cared about them the way we say we do, by training that your daughter how to manage her money, investing for her. You literally, if you take the same amount of money that you spend on your car note and you invest that same amount of money into a stock portfolio for that child, by the time she's 20, she has three or $400,000 in her bank account. At that point, if she chooses to still become a stripper, then maybe that's just something that's just in her, right? Maybe some people just got it in them. I'm not here to knock it. I'm not here to judge. But most girls who have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their stock portfolio don't go and fill out a job application at Magic City. Can we at least agree on that? I want our children to go for the highest common denominator, not the lowest. And I don't like this stuff being celebrated at all. And I agree with Madam President 100%. The Hawks need to be called out for this nonsense. And you ain't promoting this stuff to little white girls. You promoting it to represent our people. Man, you take your ass on with that nonsense because we want something better for our children. I hope that you agree. If you don't agree with me, then just, consider me to be an uppity Negro and you can just leave because I ain't got time for you today anyway. All right. So, anyway, do me a favor if you could. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I wrote a book called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, and you can get a copy if you want. It's an Amazon bestseller. Millions of people, a lot of people have read it. I wouldn't say millions, at least a few 100,000 people have. And so you can go to drboycebooks.com and get a copy if you want to. Also, I'm putting a link in the comments. We actually train our kids on this. It's basically 10 rules that any family that applies these rules will have a very direct path to generational wealth. My goal is to see us as good at economics as we are at dancing, as good at investing as we are at basketball, as good at building wealth as we are at rapping and entertaining white folks and all that. Because until we learn the fundamentals of wealth building, ownership, and asset accumulation, this is what I do. Remember, I have a PhD in finance. This is my job. Until we learn these things, then what will happen is others will identify our talent and they are going to take it from us. They're going to identify how great our children are, and they're going to traffic them in various ways. Maybe it's not sex trafficking, but when you go into that job every day and your boss is making more money from your labor than you are, then you're kind of being trafficked in a way. That's debatable, but it's not the same as sex, say that kind of trafficking. But you're being trafficked in the sense that they're putting you out there for somebody to purchase you to some extent or purchase some part of you, and somebody else is getting the money. So let's just be honest. It ain't just the girls on the street that got the pimps. A lot of us are being pimped by corporate America, and you will never have power in America if you keep letting people pimp you. And a lot of that's a mentality. So let's elevate for the next generation so that our girls aren't having to go to Magic City in order to pay the bills. All right, so have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit the thumbs up button. If you want to join us for Powernomics training, we're going to start actually in a little bit, we do this every Wednesday. So just text the word greatness to the number 87948. I will send you a Zoom link and an invitation to a private Zoom. We're reading Marcus Garvey books because that's what we do. We do Marcus Garvey Appreciation Night, Powernomics Appreciation, Dr. Claude Anderson Appreciation. Magic City, y'all can do your own appreciation night. All right, so have a good night, everybody. All right, so Morpheus says Dr. Boyce is scared to call out Ti. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I supported Ti on the whole thing with 50 Cent, but I also have spoken extensively about Ti's questionable history in terms of I congratulate Ti from appearing to grow up out of that, and because he's got daughters now, I think he understands the dark side of that, right? And it probably keeps him up at night. So I've spoken on that quite often. At the same time, though, we all have something to answer for. Ain't nobody out here perfect. So I'm not looking for perfect people to have this conversation with. I'm looking for people that want to grow, right? Dr. Claude Anderson talks all the time about Negroes and need to grows, right? So are we gonna grow, or are we gonna continue to operate on that low vibration? It's up to you to make that decision. But I want to encourage you to get into growth mode. That's how we win. That's how we overcome any oppression, white supremacy, racism, all that stuff where you put the white man on the pedestal like somehow he's just got you in a chokehold and you can't overcome that. No, if you grow, then you will win. Do we agree on that? Give me a yes if you agree that growth is the goal. Let's grow, let's grow, let's grow. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.